Welcome back to another episode of Outside Looking In. It's me, DaBoot, co-host Dre, once again, and we're back wrapping up the NFL wildcard games. We'll just jump right into it. First game, we'll talk about the 49ers Seahawks. I'll just go first on this one. Went exactly how I expected it. I thought Seattle would hang around for a little bit, but the 49ers, the hottest team in the NFL. Purdy's been playing great. I mean, he was 18 for 30, 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, don't know why the Panthers gave them Christian McCaffrey, but they did. Metcalf did have a good game for the Seahawks. And I'll talk about that later as well. But this was an obvious one for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks, granted, the first half was very intriguing just because the game was so close, but, they were playing the right way. It was clean football, no turnovers. And then second half happened, turnover, and then the game was, out of hand at that point. So I think the game was a little bit closer than the score states.
For sure.
But, yeah, I mean, because the Seahawks couldn't continue playing the clean game all game, 49ers ran away with it.
All right, next game, in the game we predicted that would be the most exciting game of the wild card weekend, the Chargers versus the Jaguars. At halftime or right before halftime, everyone was saying, this game is over. Trevor Lawrence was the worst quarterback in NFL history, threw 4 picks, had more picks than completions at some point. He was playing an awful game in his first playoff start, and then all of a sudden, it started clicking. I mean, a guy that was never lost a game on Saturday in his life, including high school and college, he was going to turn it around eventually, and he went crazy. And the Jaguars are hot. The Jaguars are hot right now. What you think about that game?
We might get into it later, but the person I feel sorry for the most is Asante Samuel Jr.
Oh, man.
Because that man had a defensive back's dream first half, probably really a defensive back's dream game. Not many get more than 1 interception in the game. And if I'm not mistaken, he had 3 of the 4 interceptions. So yeah, the Jaguars did their thing in the second half, but I mean, the Chargers, it's like score one more time, or just bleed out the clock. Like they were getting off the field way too fast. The NFL is kind of like the NBA now, and I know we're not talking about basketball, but big leagues aren't even safe in basketball because of the 3-point shot. So in football, with the speed of the game, with the passing being more prevalent than running, big leads aren't safe if you aren't still moving the ball and stopping another team. But if you don't score anything, they're stopping you, and you just let them each possession in the second half, they just go up the field and score. Your lead's not safe. I mean, we've seen that multiple times this year. So we'll see what happens afterwards. But kudos to the Jags for sticking in there and pulling out the victory. And my coach Dougie P.
I do want to give myself credit because I did say my X factor of that game was Zay Jones, and he had 8 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. So shout out to him. Also, hot take on that game: Austin Eckler is not a real running back, and they need to draft a running back or get a running back in there. He's great for what he does. He's great for what he does and catch out the backfield. But when the game's on the line,
all-purpose back.
But when the game is on the line, you need those 3-yard carries to just move the chains, run the clock, 3-4-yard carries. He can't do it. It's my thing with. We'll get to the Cowboys, but it's like kind of my thing with the Cowboys. As much as Pollard is better than Zeke right now, I think you're still going to need Zeke for those 2-yard, those 3-yard carries. I know those are important, but, most fans only want that home run ball, and I think that's what Eckler is. So they may need to get another running back out there. Next game we'll go to is, I guess we'll go to the Bengals and the Ravens. That was a interesting game. The Ravens came out, at least for me, and they shocked me. I knew they were going to play well, man. It's a divisional game, so it's already hard to blow out a team. You know them so well. But they came out and they played well. And honestly, they played better than the Bengals. They played better than the Bengals, and they just lost. That's just the way the game goes sometimes, man. Sometimes you play better, do everything better, but only one bounce doesn't go your way, and that's ball game.
And I said, for the Ravens to win this game, their defense will have to step up, create a turnover, which I believe their defense did get a turnover. And then Mark Andrews would also be an X factor, which he kind of was. And really what turned the game around was the fumble. The fumble at the goal line. I don't understand why you want to go over the top. I don't even understand why it wasn't 4th and goal. So I don't understand why you're even doing a QB sneak at that point. You've got J.K. Dobbins, just run him up the middle or try to do something off tackle. Or, you got a running back. You utilize the running back. If you wanted to do that, spread everybody out, So you could have more room for Huntley to do what he wants to do, or do what we do. And if you want to do the QB sneak, you put everybody behind them and you push them forward. Like there's so many different things, but that was just crazy. And then I still kind of think there was a little bit of a block in the back on Andrews on that return, but hey, it's neither here nor there at this point. But outside of that, the Ravens did everything they needed to do, besides cross the end zone on that one play.
Mm-hmm.
But if it wasn't for that, I think they would have pulled that.
I do think they would have pulled it off, but the AFC didn't want that to happen because, I mean, look at the 4 quarterbacks they got left. It's the future of the league over there. Then we got the Dolphins-Bills, another close game that probably shouldn't have been close. The Dolphins came out early, and it looked like they were just about to blow them out. And then all of a sudden, the Dolphins came roaring back against the Bills. It was a solid game. I didn't watch that game because I honestly thought it was going to be a blowout, the Bills-Dolphins, but it was a solid game in the end. I think Buffalo just has too much. You don't have Tua, you don't have Teddy Bridgewater, but the Dolphins put up a good fight. Like another division game. It's going to be hard to blow them out, but I mean, Josh Allen threw for 350, 3 touchdowns, couldn't stop Diggs. It is what it is.
Skylar Thompson played better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And really, he played better than what his stats even show, because in the first quarter, both Waddle and Hill dropped three deep balls. At least 2 of them. I'm not gonna say they're for sure fire touchdowns, but at least 2 of them, if they break, one tackle, then it's
Mm-hmm.
done, it's gone. It is a touchdown at that point. So I mean, he had some great accuracy on his passes. He was getting the ball to them and everything. Their defense was creating turnovers, and that's the thing about Josh Allen. Like he's gonna give you the highs, he's gonna give you the lows, he's gonna give you the great, he's gonna give you the terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And his turnovers, that's what, if the Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl, the Bills don't win the Super Bowl, anything like that. I'm not saying that I haven't picked, it's because Josh Allen turned over the football. Like the rest of their football team outside of that, their pass rush could be a little bit better. Miami has a bad offensive line, but the pass rush could be a little bit better. But outside of that, they're a well-constructed team. So yeah, Josh Allen has to take care of the ball. And they play close every single game this season. And with the third-string quarterback, we didn't think it was going to happen. It happened. It was another close game.
Yeah, I think losing Von Miller is going to end up being huge for them as well. And then the last game, well, it really wasn't the last game. 2 more games. I forgot about that last one. But the Giants-Vikings, I'll start on this stuff. The first drive of that game, I was like, what are the Giants doing? They're letting the same thing that happened in the first game happen again. Is Justin Jefferson just going crazy, doing what he wanted that first drive. I think he had 3 or 4 catches that first drive, Justin Jefferson, just doing what he wanted. But then after that, they pretty much shut him out. And once you shut Justin Jefferson out, the Vikings, they're done. They're absolutely done. That's their only offense. And once they took him away, Kirk Cousins just turned to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, this game kind of went exactly how I thought it was. I said that, you don't want the Vikings, you don't want, your defense on the field last, because they probably aren't going to stop them. And even though they weren't on the field last, they could not stop the Giants all game. I mean, the Giants had, I think, like a 15 and a 20 play drive, like an 11-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
They only got a field goal out of it, but still, like 11 minutes off the clock, like that could have been 2-3 possessions between the 2 of those teams, during that time. They made Daniel Jones look like a top 5 quarterback. He was out there throwing. I think that was his best throwing game of the season. Ran for over 300 yards, ran for over 70 yards. They didn't even have to use Saquon like that, just because, the Vikings were letting Daniel Jones do whatever, and they're making their wide receivers, look like they were the greatest show on turf all over again. So it's like, the Vikings defense, they've got some work to do. Kirk Cousins throwing 5-6 yards short on 4th down with the game on the line. Like, I understand Justin Jefferson is, probably double covered in that situation, but you either got to throw it to him or at least just throw it past the sticks. Like you can't throw it 5-6 yards short to a tight end and expect the tight end to break a tackle. Like you're asking him to do too much. At least get him close to the line where he can maybe like reach over or maybe use his strength to get over and stuff like that. But it was just bad. I mean, Kirk Cousins necessarily didn't have a bad game, but that was a bad decision right there, and that cost him a chance.
I always remember when Nick Saban said, at the end of games, we do not call plays at the end of games. We call players. And that's what Kirk Cousins should have did. Forget what the play call is, throw it to Justin Jefferson, and you live with that result 10 times out of 10. That's what I would do. In the last game, the Cowboys versus the Bucs. I can't believe I'm doing this, but thank you, Cowboys. I really, really appreciate the Dallas Cowboys. Now y'all need to lose. But I'm glad y'all knocked Tom Brady out, and I'm glad y'all embarrassed him. I'm glad it wasn't close. The only thing interesting about this game was to see if Brett Meyer was going to make a field goal or not. That was the only interesting thing about this game. Everything else, it was awful. Tom Brady numbers they're going to look good because they threw the ball for the entire rest of the game. He threw for 350, 2 touchdowns, but he didn't play a great game at all. And I'm just glad they got embarrassed. Dak actually probably played the best game I've ever seen Dak Prescott play. So I guess congrats to the Cowboys, even though I hope they lose now.
I mean, I kind of wish the score was like 17. 14. Well, okay. This game was out of hand right as soon as Brady threw that red zone interception because, they went down the field, but then I think they punted. And then the Cowboys went down the field, scored, and they got the ball back, went down the field, got back into the red zone, and then boom, interception. So I'm like, this is just awful. The Bucks defense is not what it was 2 years ago. It's not even what it was last year. Excuse me. So it's just wild. But I mean, I couldn't win at all in this game because if Brady won or if the Cowboys won, I wasn't going to be happy. But I'll talk about the Cowboys more when we talk about these next games.
Yep. And speaking on the next games, the first game up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs, #1 seed, coming off a bye week. They're an 8.5-point favorite. Over under 53. I'll let you go first. What you think is going to happen in this game right here? Yeah, on you.
I'm sorry, what'd you say the over?
Chiefs Jaguar. Over under is 53.
Under was?
53.
Oh. So, hey, Jaguars did a great job coming back, third largest playoff comeback in NFL history. And your prize is the Kansas City Chiefs. And a rested Kansas City Chiefs at that. Now, granted, because of what just happened, the Jaguars going into this game, they're like, look,
whatever happens.
Right. We can do whatever we've already won. Now we weren't supposed to be here. If we keep it close and we still lose, everybody's gonna be like, hey, like the Jaguars are up and coming. What's wrong with the Chiefs? And if we win, that's even a bigger boost, So I think this is Doug Peterson versus Andy Reid. Doug Peterson is from the Andy Reid tree and everything. Both of them coached in Philly, and then both of them had, Mahomes is still technically young, so they both have young quarterbacks that are electric, and they can do some crazy things. They also take chances, so both defenses are going to have opportunities. Neither defense do you really want to trust. There are guys on the defenses that you trust. Like if I'm the Chiefs, I automatically trust Chris Jones in any situation that I'm in. Snead might pop up every now and then, and do something big. You got Bolton, a linebacker, but their defense as a whole, you don't really know what's going to happen. And like with the Jaguars, you got their linebacker, can't pronounce his last name. Then you've got Josh Allen and Walker coming off the edges, and then Walker in the secondary. So they've each got players, but their defenses as a whole, you just don't trust them. Now, granted, I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think this is going to be a 14-point win for the Chiefs, but I mean, the Jags might make it interesting because hey, what just happened this last game? Who knows? And that could be a boost. Almost kind of like I'm not saying he's gonna win the Super Bowl or they're going to the Super Bowl, but winning a game like that can give you a boost. Kind of like when the Packers, when Aaron Rodgers won his Super Bowl and they went on the road 4 games and they got their boost. Eli Manning going on the road 4 games, and winning, making it to the Super Bowl, that kind of stuff. So anything's possible, but I still think Chiefs are gonna pull it out.
For me, I do think Jags are riding high. Obviously, they played great in the second half. Really, 2.5 quarters against the Chargers. You can't do that against the Chiefs. If the Chiefs go up 27 points on you, they're gonna start doing that ring around the rosy shit on your head, and you're not gonna be able to stop them. So you don't want to go down 27 points against the Chiefs. Also, I think the Jags, if they can stop Kelce, that's going to be the key. I mean, obviously, it's tough to do because nobody can do it. If you can stop Travis Kelce, you got a chance to win. I do think the Chiefs are going to win, but like I said last week, I'm going with the Jaguars because we just hot right now, and it's we now because the Saints not in it, so I just got to find other teams to go with. I'm going with the Jaguars winning this game against the Chiefs. Why? I can't even tell you why. I'm just hoping the Jaguars wins because I'm not in it. My team not in it, so I just want chaos. The most chaos possible, and I'm good with it. I am good with that. And this next game, this is going to be probably the most watched game of the playoffs, and not including the Super Bowl, if I had to guess, unless the NFC Championship goes a certain way. But Giants versus the Eagles. Let me go first. Let me go first because I'm sure you probably got something to say about it. All right. Personally, Eagles are rested. That's definitely good for Jalen Hurts getting rested. That shoulder injury. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, everybody's rested basically from the Eagles. They've been beat up a little bit as of late. Giants, they really didn't give Barkley the ball that much this past game, so he's gonna definitely be needed. They still gonna have to find some receivers. They don't really have receivers, but they're producing. Those guys out there producing. They made Daniel Jones look great last week. At least the Vikings did. Philly secondary is the best in the NFL. Unfortunately, I only know that because the Saints finished second in passing yards per game. So obviously they're gonna be stout in the passing secondary. But I think the Giants are gonna do it. I think they're gonna pull it off. It's something about the Giants when they're 9-7. I don't know what it is, but when the Giants go 9-7, it's just their time to make a run. And the Super Bowl formula is got to be able to run the ball, good defensive line. That's my good Super Bowl formula right there. And their defensive line has been fantastic this year. And obviously Barkley and Daniel Jones can both run the ball. So I got the Giants 17-point victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it won't be close.
Wow, 17-point victory. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So here's the interesting thing about this game. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, a lot of people said that the Giants could beat the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it was this far-fetched thing. So the Giants beat the Vikings by 1 touchdown, 7 points. Mm-hmm. And everybody is now saying that the Giants, but they're talking about the Giants like they're some Super Bowl contender or they're the favorites to win the NFC and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, you picked them to win the game and they won the game. And they won it by a touchdown. Like, I don't get it. Granted, yes, Daniel Jones played great, but the Vikings defense has been trash all year long. Their pass defense is, if it's not the worst, it's one of the worst in the league. Like they've been playing the same shell defense all year long. And once any quarterback finally understands it and they can pick their holes, they could have one of their best completion percentage games of the season against that team. They have no pass rush whatsoever. It's just, no, that game was set up for the Vikings to win. Now, we, on the other hand, led the league with 70 sacks. We have the number 1 pass defense. We got CJ Gardner-Johnson coming back. We've got Lane Johnson coming back. Even though, granted, Lane Johnson's coming back hurt. Like, he is not back from that abdomen injury.
Shoot it up.
I don't know how it's going to be, but hey, he's going out there. But, the Giants rookie tackle, Evan Neal, he had one of the worst pass blocking grades of the entire season. So he's going to be getting a heavy dose of Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, if they do stunts or anything like that, Sweat, if he moves on that side, they're going to attack him. They're going to make sure that Daniel Jones is on the run and different things like that. And granted, now I also think that they will contain, granted, Daniel Jones, he's going to get his rushing yards. Any running quarterback will find their lane. They'll get, find some lanes and run and things like that. But we'll contain him a lot better than the Vikings did. So they're going to have to utilize Saquon more. We've got a better run defense now that we've got Sue and Linval Joseph. So I'm not too worried about that. My biggest worry is, because we did beat them 2-0, the first game was the main matchup because everybody was healthy. Everybody was there for the most part. And we blew them out. The second matchup, they had their backups in. We were just trying to win. We weren't really out there trying to put on a performance or trying to go out there and win by 30 points or anything like that. So, I'm going to say this is the true second matchup, but I really think that this game truly falls under Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts is, because he's not on the injury report. So apparently his shoulder is good. But if his shoulder truly is good, I think we'll be fine. I'm not saying we're going to win by 17 or anything like that, but I think we'll win by at least 10. I think this will be a 10-point Eagles victory. And then we'll just be awaiting the winner of Cowboys 49ers to see who's the next opponent coming to Philly. Like I said, I always give respect to divisional games. So this will not be some crazy game where we're lights out. I mean, it could be, but I don't think this is going to be some crazy game where it's lights out or anything like that. But I do think in the end, we win by 10. We force Daniel Jones into some turnovers. or into some bad decisions or to throw the ball away. Like they're not going to be able to go on a 20-play, 11-minute drive against us. Like it's not going to happen.
Hey man, we'll see. That's Vegas got them at 7.5 right now, so that's kind of right on that. Then we go to the Bengals Bills. Obviously, this is the DeMar Hamlin game when they played in the regular season, so they didn't really get to play. I think Bengals were up 7-3 at when it happened or whatever. So that's definitely gonna be. It's already storylines going into this game as it is. So that's something to watch right there. And then, I mean, they were talking trash before that game. I remember Joe Mixon was saying the AFC still comes through the Bengals. They're the defending champs. Obviously, the Bills think it's their time. They're in their window right now. So honestly, the Bills, the Bengals, and the Chiefs, they all feel like it's their Super Bowl windows right now. Joe Burrow did have the best answer of all time when they asked him basically, how long do you feel like y'all Super Bowl window is going to be open? He said, as long as I'm here. I mean, you just got to respect that. That man said Super Bowl window every year. But this game, I think it's going to come down. If the Bills can run the ball on the Bengals, they have a chance. You can't just rely on Josh Allen running around for 40, 50 yards, 60, 70 yards a game. Singletary, James Cook, they're going to have to be able to establish some type of run. And also, just pick on Eli Apple. If the Bills want to win, just throw at Eli Apple. He's absolutely dog shit. I promise you'll win. Just throw him every play. Every play. Actually, if I bet this game, I'm going Gabe. Whoever is Eli Apple's guarding, I'll just bet them over on yards because they'll hit for sure. And the Bengals, I mean, it's the same thing. You got Jamar Chase, you got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. Their offense has to play much better than what they did against the Ravens. Obviously, that's a divisional game, so that's a little different. They know y'all. They basically know every play that you're about to run. So this one's going to be interesting. And it's going to be interesting because they didn't get to finish. So it's not really like they got film on each other if they played because it was only like a quarter. So that's definitely going to be interesting. And with me, I mean, I'm going with LSU Junior. I got to go with my Bengals right here. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, LSU guys out there. That's a no-doubter right there. I think it's going to be a close one, 3-point game, something like that.
Okay, I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go it's going to be a touchdown game. Bill's going to come out on top, mainly because, so here's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that Bengals defense against the Ravens. The Ravens kind of did what they wanted to do, which was compress that game. Like they extended the clock in the sense where they took, long drives, which kind of hurt them at some points, but they took their time with the clock and everything. They were able to run the ball. And Trey Henderson, I think he's still hurt. Like I think his arm is still, or not his arm, his hand. I think he's still got the cut on his hand.
Former Saint.
And so, I mean, granted, Sam Hubbard came up big with that interception return, but he's not like a carbon copy. Their secondary can be got, especially against Eli Apple. So, Diggs and Gabe Davis, they might have a big game. If the Bills can run the ball, that'll be such a huge boost. The biggest thing for the Bills is Josh Allen, you just can't turn the ball over. Like you absolutely can't, and for the Bills, this is your game for your pass rush to continue working and showing up because the Bengals lost yet another offensive lineman. So they're down to, I think now they're only one offensive lineman that started, like the first 15 games of the season with them and everybody else is a backup. So y'all gotta, I'm not saying you have to blitz every down. That wouldn't be smart, but you need to, apply some pressure on Joe Burrow, get him off his feet, get him on the move, different things like that, but get him on the move the way that you want to do it, not because, he's deciding to do it. And really just don't get beat deep by Higgins or Chase. If you keep everything friendly, they're going to get their catches, they're going to get their yards. But if you make the Bengals have to work for it, I think they'll be good. So I think Bills are going to win this game by 7.
And then we went separate ways on every last game so far.
Yeah.
Last game, last but not least, they're going to be Sunday, kind of night, 5:30 Eastern time, I would assume. Maybe Central. I don't know. It doesn't say on here. But Cowboys versus the 49ers. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. I think you got, obviously, Zeke, Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Schultz, who had a good game against the 49ers. I mean, not against the 49ers. Their last game against the Bucks. Then you got the 49ers, the hottest team in the NFL. For this one, I think Purdy comes to reality. I think he comes down to reality finally. I think Michael Parsons, even though he left the game hurt, I think he'll have a good game. And I think the Cowboys they can do it. I don't know. Dak got me believing in Dak. I don't know why, because I hate the Cowboys. I don't want them to win. But if they lose late, I guess that kind of helps too. It's love to see them suffer. Give them a chance. Vegas has 49ers at -4 right now. I think the Cowboys can win it. Obviously, you got to make extra points if they score touchdowns. You got to make field goals. Because the 49ers, I think they're going to put up at least 24 points. So to beat them, you're going to need 27 to 30 points, in my opinion. I think they can do it. But the 49ers defense is, I mean, they've been the best in the league as well. So it's going to be tough. But I'm just going, actually, I'm lying. I'm going 49ers. I can't pick the Cowboys. It sounded good in my head, but 49ers not going to lose this game. I just see no way, no how.
It didn't even matter if the Cowboys were the best team in the league this year. I'm not picking them. Like I'm picking the 49ers, either way. But here's the thing that worries me. One thing that worries me is the corners for the 49ers. Now, granted, really, when it comes to the Cowboys, T.Y. Hilton's going to get you one good catch that whole game. So if you have him get that one good catch early, he's done for the game. He's good. I'm not worried about Noah Brown at all. Dak is going to force a ball to Noah Brown, and you're going to have a chance to intercept it. CD is the one that you got to watch out for. They're going to put CD out wide. They're going to put CD in the slot, and him being in the slot is actually where he's been the most dangerous all year long. But I saw what, DK Metcalf did, against the 49ers last week. Now, granted, DK Metcalf is a different stature of a quarterback than CD, but still, CD's a really good wide receiver. So I'm a little worried about that if they can get that going. If they can't, they have no shot. The other thing I'm also worried about is the fact that this is Brock Purdy's first time actually playing a top defense. Yep. So this is going to be a huge test for him. And he threw some passes against the Seahawks where it should have easily been picked, or, he got bailed out, and certain things like that. And that's why he was 18 of 30 and not like 21 of 30 and, stuff like that. So he's going to have to be more cautious with the ball, make better reads, things like that. I really think that, Shanahan understands that. He's probably going to run a little bit more, test that Cowboys run defense. And then it's going to be a lot of short stuff to Kittle and McCaffrey, maybe some wide receiver screens to Samuel. But as long as they play a smart game, and if Purdy doesn't, regress and turn into a turnover machine or anything, I think the 49ers pull it out. But I do think it'll be close. I'm also giving this one a 10-point difference, mainly because who knows if Maher's going to make his extra points or his field goals.
It could be a 7-point game, but mixed extra points can do them in.
That's the thing. So if he still got the yips, the Cowboys might be going for 2 a lot, and who knows how that goes for them. And Zeke didn't necessarily have the best game against the Bucs.
Nope.
So if they can, keep Pollard under wraps and stuff like that, force Zeke have to be on the field and things like that, they should win. But the reason the Bucs didn't win, they didn't force Dak into turnovers. Force Dak into some turnovers, and you're in control, you're in shape. But yeah, I'm going for 49ers.
We did this last episode. Before we get out of here, this one's going to be a little easier than last time. Highest ticket and lowest ticket. Let's start with lowest. I think that one should be the easiest. What's going to be the easiest ticket to get in this divisional round?
Ooh, that's a little weird because of where all the games are.
I don't think it's
weird.
I think it's easy.
I'm gonna say 49ers Cowboys is the lowest ticket.
Absolutely not. Jaguars Chiefs is the lowest ticket.
See, Chiefs fans, you let me down.
It's Jaguars Chiefs. Look at these other games. Cowboys 49ers. That's big time. That's the star, obviously. 49ers. That's like 2 of the best franchises of all time. And it's like
and here's the other thing I'm gonna throw in real quick. The NFL ain't slick. I'm seeing the storylines already start up because the Cowboys haven't won a road playoff game, obviously, until last week. In over 25 years, something like that. And the last time when they won a road playoff game was when they beat the 49ers, and that's when their dynasty started. And now here we go again, in San Francisco. So it's just I'm already seeing all the little storylines between the NFC and the AFC, but it is what it is. NFL. Right, I'm hip.
Last one, the highest ticket.
I mean, the highest tickets after that is probably 49ers Cowboys, but no.
Which second? You should know what second too. I thought it was fairly easy, honestly, in my opinion.
I'm gonna actually go second one. Probably Bills Bengals.
God, you're bad at this. I'm gonna get you to do this next time. It's the Eagles, John. That's New York and Philly. I thought that was gonna be like.
But easy. see, I'm looking at matchups. I'm looking at
I'm looking at names
versus 3. Like yank those ticket prices up. And Buffalo, y'all got a stadium y'all trying to pay for. Y'all better be yanking them ticket prices up. We got our stadium.
It's also about to be under 30 degrees in there, so that's always going to play a part. But I
Mhm.
mean, the lowest ticket Cowboys 49ers game is 441 right now, which is insane. Giants Eagles 222, 111 for Jaguars Chiefs, and 152
111
for lowest. I mean, you're probably at the top somewhere. You know, it's cold.
Man, let me go get me a ticket.
But yeah, I think so. What you got? You got Chiefs, obviously Eagles, Bills, 49ers. I got Jags, Giants, Bengals, 49ers. Let's see who comes out victorious. Probably be you, because I took like all the upsets because
I was about to say, you took all the underdogs besides 49ers.
I want chaos. I almost took the Cowboys, but I can't do that. Chaos, chaos, chaos. I do think the Eagles Giants game will break the record for most watched playoff game in the playoffs this year, besides the Super Bowl. I think that's going to be number one watch game, unless it's Eagles Cowboys or Giants Cowboys. Then I think that game will break the record that the Eagles Giants set. Because I believe in the regular season, the most watched games was like Eagles Cowboys, Giants Cowboys, Eagles Giants, and now you get it in the playoffs. That's just going to be obviously
NFC
more
East
audience.
does that. Granted, it helps with having the Cowboy effect. Like the Cowboys are just national media. But yeah, that I agree with you.
So I think that's going to be the most watched. Like I said, unless the Cowboys are victorious, and then they play the Giants or the Eagles next round. It's going to be interesting. I can tell you right now, I didn't expect the 49ers, Cowboys, Giants, and Jaguars to be in this position right now. So there's 4 teams that I did not expect to be in the divisional round. The Eagles, I could have guessed. Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, I think everybody had them coming this far. I think it's going to be a good divisional round. Can't wait till we get to those conference championships, but we'll be with y'all next week once these games are played, and we'll be with a recap and the championship round predictions as well, and then after that, obviously Super Bowl, and we'll see what happens around the off season. But thank y'all for tuning in once again, man. Outside looking in, and we out.
Fly Eagles fly.
Relax.